The tombstone read, "Here lies Don B. Stressed. He passed away on September 30th due to complications from stress." Today we're going to talk about the impact of stress. Stress is an active process that involves an action on the system that threatens its equilibrium. Stressors are things that cause stress. They can be physical, psychological, or psychosocial. Here's a video.
Stress. It is an inevitable part of life, especially for college students.
A lot of the things that cause me stress are just trying to meet deadlines and live up to expectations.
To have certain wants, desires, and not being able to obtain those.
For example, if I fail a test, I then, in my mind, see myself not getting into medical school, which is just a pretty big domino effect.
Stressors like these can take a significant toll on your moods and emotions, as well as your long-term physical health. When we're stressed, our physiological stress systems go into overdrive, and over time, this can cause wear and tear on our bodies. For example, we get sick more easily, lose sleep, or experience muscle pain. Stress also puts strain on our cardiovascular systems, making us vulnerable to more serious outcomes like heart attacks. The more stressed we are, the more vulnerable we are to disease, which can lead to even more stress. But the good news is that by understanding the impact stress has on our bodies, we can take the necessary steps to develop coping mechanisms and thereby reduce stress, prevent disease, and lead happier, healthier lives.
There are two types of stress: acute stress and chronic stress. Acute stress is short term. The body is actually good at handling acute stress. Chronic stress is resulting from a repeated exposure to situations that lead to the release of stress hormones. This type of stress can cause wear and tear on your mind and body. Many scientists do not think our stress response system was designed to be constantly activated, and this overuse may contribute to breakdown of many bodily systems. Every time our stress response is activated, our body prepares to keep us alive by shutting some systems down and requiring others to work overtime. These adaptations are meant to keep us alive, but overuse of this response is harmful to our health. Here is a short video on the HPA axis and the endocrine stress response.
Welcome to 2 Minute Neuroscience, where I explain neuroscience topics in 2 minutes or less. In this installment, I will discuss the HPA axis. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal, or HPA, axis is best known for its role in our body's reaction to stress. The HPA axis includes a group of hormone-secreting glands from the nervous and endocrine systems, the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and adrenal glands. The hypothalamus is a small neuroendocrine structure situated just above the brainstem that controls the release of hormones from the pituitary gland, a hormone-secreting gland that sits just below the hypothalamus. The pituitary gland can release hormones into the bloodstream to reach a variety of targets. In the case of the HPA axis, hormones released from the pituitary gland travel down to the kidneys and influence the secretion of hormones from endocrine glands called the adrenal glands, which sit on top of the kidneys. The primary function of the HPA axis is to regulate the stress response. When we experience something stressful, the hypothalamus releases a hormone called corticotropin-releasing hormone, or CRH. CRH signals the pituitary gland to secrete a hormone called adrenocorticotropic hormone, or ACTH, into the bloodstream. ACTH travels down to the adrenal glands where it prompts the release of a hormone called cortisol from the cortex or outer layer of the adrenal glands. The release of cortisol causes a number of changes that help the body to deal with stress. For example, it helps to mobilize energy like glucose, so the body has enough energy to cope with a prolonged stressor. When cortisol levels in the blood get high, this is sensed by receptors in areas of the brain like the hypothalamus and hippocampus, which leads to the shutting off of the stress response through what is known as a negative feedback mechanism.
Stress affects us in many ways. Here is an excellent graphic of the biopsychosocial model, and so you can see how stress affects not only physically, but psychologically and socially. Stress affects the brain. High levels of cortisol can wear down the brain's ability to function properly. Chronic stress can disrupt synapse regulation, resulting in the loss of sociability and the avoidance of interactions with others. Stress can kill brain cells and even reduce the size of the brain. Chronic stress has a shrinking effect on the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain responsible for memory and learning. While stress can shrink the prefrontal cortex, it can increase the size of the amygdala, which can make the brain more receptive to stress. Biological effects of stress to the respiratory and cardiovascular system. Your heart pumps faster. Stress hormones cause your blood vessels to constrict and divert more oxygen to your muscles, so you'll have more strength to take action. But this also raises your blood pressure, and as a result, frequent or chronic stress will make your heart work too hard for too long. When your blood pressure rises, so do your risk for having a stroke or heart attack. Your liver produces extra glucose to give you a boost of energy. If you're under chronic stress, your body may not be able to keep up with this extra glucose surge. Chronic stress may increase your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. The rush of hormones, rapid breathing, and increased heart rate can also upset your digestive system. You'll be more likely to have heartburn or acid reflux thanks to an increase in stomach acid. Your muscular system is also affected. Your muscles tense up to protect themselves from injury when you're stressed. They tend to release again once you relax, but if you're constantly under stress, your muscles may not get the chance to relax. Tight muscles cause headaches, back and shoulder pain. Over time, this can set up an unhealthy cycle as you stop exercising and turn to pain medication for relief. Chronic stress affects your sexuality and reproductive system. Stress is exhausting for both the body and mind. It's not unusual to lose your desire when you're under constant stress. While short-term stress may cause men to produce more of the male hormone testosterone, this effect does not last. If stress continues for a long time, a man's testosterone levels can begin to drop. This can interfere with sperm production and cause erectile dysfunction or impotence. Chronic stress may also increase risk of infection for male reproductive organs like the prostate and testes. For women, stress can affect the menstrual cycle. It can lead to irregular, heavier, or more painful periods. Chronic stress can also magnify the physical symptoms of menopause. Stress also stimulates the immune system, which can be a plus for immediate situations in acute stress. This stimulation can help you avoid infections and heal wounds. But over time, stress hormones will weaken your immune system and reduce your body's response to foreign invaders. People under chronic stress are more susceptible to viral illnesses like the flu and common cold, as well as other infections. Stress can also increase the time it takes you to recover from an illness or injury. Stress can affect you psychologically by causing you anxiety, restlessness, lack of motivation or focus. You can feel overwhelmed, sad, depressed, angry, and even have low self-esteem. A lot of people turn to unhealthy coping skills like overeating or undereating, angry outbursts, drug or alcohol misuse, tobacco use, isolation, or exercising less often. Stress affects you socially in your work and family relationships, your relationship with your significant other. It can even affect your schooling and cause you to withdraw socially and isolate. The good news is there are a lot of stress reduction methods and good coping skills out there. You just have to find out what works for you. You can go to a support group, try yoga or meditations. Make sure you're eating right and getting proper exercise and sleep. And try to practice breathing exercises in quiet environments. I hope this helps with stress. You don't want to end up in the cemetery like Dawn Be Stressed.